All right, what's going on, everyone? Supreme Kami over here. So let's actually take a look at these two permanent alterations over here. So these two are actually going to be standard units, so they're not something that everyone needs to like immediately pull for. So that's why I push on the alteration review for these guys much later on, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people do have these part in their box already. So let's proceed on right now. So what they have been doing with these permanent alteration over here, they have not been accompanying it with like another so-called like Gundam Battle Festival unit, because we are pretty much caught up. I think the only two, let's say Sokai's and Gundam Battle Festival that has not received their initial alteration, is only the Wing Zero custom eligible version, and then the new Gundam. There are so many different new Gundam in this game, but it's just the base, like the base new Gundam, if I recall. So that's the only one that only those two. That's why you see they're pushing out to standard alteration now. So that's pretty good, because I would say there are pretty good. There are pretty good standard units that does need a like with alteration would make it a lot more powerful. I would say maybe a little bit more on par with like some of the older Sokais. Yeah. But let's see what these two has in store for us over here. So for these standard one over here, I'm not really gonna rank them too much, because I'm pretty sure these are easy grab for everyone. So I'm pretty sure if you guys do need to alterate it, just for whatever reason, I think they'll just be pretty good to go. But do keep in mind before alternating these over here, because you do have to kind of get them up to 6 stars. So the investment to that 6 star is going to be a little bit hefty. What I mean by that, if you're going to 2 to 6 star over here, you're gonna at least need 5 million as the capital, and then you're gonna need all these I would say resources that in order to get it up to the 6 star. So just kind of keep in mind before you guys alterate these part, are these something that you really need. So let's kind of dive in right now. So how's the head up to alteration? In terms of the head, I think the shot attack is not the most promising thing on this guy over here. I think the most attracting part of this overall kit is the high armament this guy has. I think throughout the part you'll find that the armor is quite outstanding. But in relation to like the overall offensive, like the offensive side is not as high as you would think for like a shooting unit over here. This one in relation to some of the others is quite actually low. This is coming in at 8,000 max out. Yeah, that's not looking too good, right? In terms of the EX skill over here, this one is gonna be your offensive up gamma over here. So this one, raise melee and shot attack up to your squad by 49%. So if I'm not mistaken, this which one is this one relate to? Is this one is the same as Dynamis? Let me see. No, this one is just strictly Archistan over here. This one is good. I don't think we have too many like double buffing. So this one, if you guys do want some extra bit of a damage, this one is highly suggested alterate and all that. I think there's pretty cute combos you can do like for like I would say 3v3 arena if any of you guys even take those seriously as I do, because there's a pretty good combo where you can just kind of have your two ally activate, let's say some offense up like this one over here and some other ones, and then you can kind of use like a what is it, the actual drop, and get some insane damage output, right? So that's why I'm pretty sure this one is something I'll alterate myself. But what's actually cool we can do with these over here, let's say you have two Gundam X Divider head over here. So one is Archer and one's an Archer. You can just slap it onto two builds, and then they can both activate, and they will not, let's say, cancel each other because they're quote unquote different name. Because this one has to start in front, and then the Archer obviously does not have any. So this treat as a different part, if you will. So it's gonna be good. You wanna double stack it like that. But based at this level 1, you do start out at 40%, so that is good. I would say. I would say as you get up to that level 10, it's good. But I would say usually when you do want to use these like buffers over here, you do kind of want to accompany with some portrait that says buff EX skill effects, because they'll greatly increase what this would actually do. Alright, so let's actually move on. Before that, word tag wise, mid range and Gundam type, a fairly decent word tag you can be using. I feel like mid range is always going to be good for like players who does not have access to like commander tag. Obviously, Commander Tech is more geared towards like those Soulcast and Gundam Battle Festival parts. Obviously, you can still kind of force out a commander if you will, but I'm pretty sure there's just not enough good parts in terms of like those standard parts you're looking at. I know that those Wilford part has a lot, but those are usually accompanied with like melee war attacks, so not probably not your best combo. So mid range is gonna be good. Gundam Type is always gonna be good for a shooter build over here. Alright, moving on to the chest. So over here, in terms of the chest, you do have an insane amount of armor again. In terms of like just the overall, everything after that is pretty even overall coming into that. Melee is a little bit higher, just by around 400-ish. And then the defensive stat is around the same, exactly the same. Tag wise, mid-range and Gundam type again, so that's pretty good. In terms of the word tag over here, first portrait is not. I want to say it's that good. Because this is only strictly to that strong melee attack. So, strong melee hit is only that very last hit. So I don't know how many swing is for every weapon. But that last swing will get that 30% buff, and then other than that, like your other regular is not gonna get. He's not gonna get that as well. So. Second portrait is gonna be good. With power attribute melee power boosted by 35%, so that's always gonna be good. If you guys don't have any other, let's say you have no other option, I say this one is good. But do keep this in mind. This is on a you can see you will like a shooter tag over here. So I don't know if having like a like a melee trait right here is gonna be that good. I want to say. Maybe you can put this in like a dual type build. I'm pretty sure a lot of people like making dual type build, and this would probably help you guys out in the long term. But I personally don't feel like running dual type just because it's gonna be a little bit hard to just get those specific parts that kind of boost it. I think the highest one I have seen so far was like, I think is either 80k or 70k. That is with like everything maxed out. So just in general, like it is really just best to build two types in like a melee build and shooter build. But just me saying it does not mean everyone has to do it. You guys can play at your own pace. If you want to do a dual type build, by all means you can do that. But you guys would notice that you guys would like you guys who see that in terms of doing EXQ damage, you're not gonna be outputting a lot because you guys might have some portrait that boosts only melee, and then some only boost shooting. So you're gonna see a lot of discrepancy in those builds. But I think for a dual type build, I think this like a Saving Grace is probably running a portrait that especially boosts EXQ power only. I think in that regards, you can kind of bypass all those like just strictly melee and strictly shooting damage. So that is that. But this one overall, if you guys, I don't know, this one having those shooter type tag is not really cutting it for this portrait over here. So, but I would say Gundam type is fairly common in like a shooter in a melee build as well. So maybe in that regards, you can just kind of do some good subslide option. Maybe just get, I don't know, pro tag, close combat, and all that. But alright, let's move on to the arm right now and see what we're looking at. The arm is actually pretty good in terms of like the melee attack. Is I would say is serviceable, but you do rack up at 9600 at the end of the day. Not the highest we have seen in terms of these standard parts over here. In terms of armor wise, it's pretty high as well, coming almost at 6k, which is pretty impressive, I would say. In terms of tech, you do have mid range and then high firepower, so this is going to be another one of those like situation where high firepower works in the melee builds. So if you do want to kind of do some sort of like a dual type build, this one is probably going to be good in that regards. If you guys take a look at the word tag over here, this one is specifically meant to be an outrider, so like a melee build suit over here. So this one, the overall X divider is meant to be more of like a dual type build. This one is actually good in a way. So when you are using outrider job, enemy shooting power reduced by 30%. So for any one of you guys out there who is trying to build that let's say reduction build here, this is going to be one part you can use. But in terms of the second portrait, shoot parts EXQ boost by 35%. This one is a little bit of just a little bit too restrictive, I would say. There's just not a lot of like powerful shoot EXQ. I think there's only one. If I'm not mistaken, there's only one shield casting EXQ. All the other one is more of like single 30 seconds or like 90, 60-second ones. Those I would say for shooter build purposes, let's say, there are a lot of good magazine type. I think those two star alterations ones, like those Jagins. Is it the Jagins one or like the let's say the RX 178? I is it the Mark II? Yeah, I think those have some pretty good shield EX skills. So I mean, if you want to purely boost shield EX skills, by all means. But I would say shield EX skill is just too limited in a way. So I don't know. This one's probably, in my opinion, this is something to just kind of skip for now. Just because in terms of shield EX skill, there's just not a lot of good option, in my opinion, right? So. Tag wise, it's gonna be more of like a dual type build again over here, but armor is gonna be good. But other than that, I don't think this one. Me personally, I'm not gonna alterate this because the second portrait is just too restrictive. All right, moving on to the leg over here. Let's see what we have. Wow, yeah, the leg does have some pretty insane armor as well, coming into 6,300. Your offensive stat is gonna be really low, like. Oh man, but let's say in a perspective of like a free to play player or even like a German player, I feel like looking at the stat right here, I would say it's pretty serviceable to you guys. I think it's just based on my perspective, this is like really low, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people will take advantage of this. This stat is provided from this lake over here, X divider. In terms of word tag over here, mid range and for desert, so like for desert it's pretty niche typing over here, but I'm pretty sure you can just kind of subslot that away pretty easily, so that should be no problem. In terms of the portrait over here, you do have so when you are using Outfighter, EXQ cooldown reduced by 20%. So here you go. Here's one of those portrait right here that you can kind of use where you can just take advantage of that. If anyone is interested into building like a 100% EXQ cooldown build, this part is something you can kind of use as well. Yeah, this is gonna be good, but keep this in mind. This is gonna be locked to Outfighter, so that is something you have to run. And then a word tag as well, you have to be using mid range as well. So this is another one of those instances where this is gonna be dedicated to like a dual type build again. This one is gonna raw. Like I would say piercing boosting is actually pretty good in a way. Just because in this set the X divider does have EX skill that has like an A pierce, so that'll work alongside really well if you are using this portrait over here. So let's move on. All right, I think this one does have A pierce. No, this one only have D power or D pierce. This one is good. I actually do like the twist buster over here. That is something I normally use in like battle kit. Saved me numerous times. So if you guys have seen my battle circuit video, it comes in clutch. I like it, but it's not something I would say you really need to alterate it, because post alteration you're only going from A minus to A, just a flat A, so it's not really necessary, I guess. But obviously, if you do alterate it, you're gonna see some little bit of a damage change for sure. It's gonna continue with that trend of like extremely hard armor over here, but the offensive stat is a little bit better. But it's still not the highest from what I've seen. That defense is just not looking too good at all. Word check wise, mid range and for desert again. Yeah, so this EX skill is good. Twist Buster is good. I have used it, like I said, numerous times in Battle Circuit, and I saved my life many times. So this one is good. Alright. Moving on to the ranged weapons. Over here we got a beam machine gun. In terms of like the flat, like just the overall output with that shot attack is good. This one is coming in at 10,500, so I feel like a lot of players can kind of take advantage of that if needed. But do keep this in mind. This is gonna be more of like for a melee build, because look at that portrait. Up for the job, initial EXQ charge boost by 20%. So that is in the likes of using an Outfighter, obviously. In terms of the second portrait, this is more dedicated to like your normal shooting. So when you equip with like a beam range weapon, whatever your reload rate or reload speed is gonna be boosted by 25%. So that is pretty much it. I would say it's okay for I would say if you're gonna run this on like with the Outfighter, Man, this is gonna be hard. This is probably gonna be a hard uh dual type build for sure. Just because of the tag right here. Mid range and for desert. Yeah, it's not really cutting it. Uh, Alright. I think the main selling point of the X divider is obviously gonna be this shield over here. This one is, in terms of the stat, let's talk about the stat first. The stat is not going to be anything too crazy. Defense wise, I think the only outstanding part is going to be the melee defense, and then other than that, all the other one just kind of mediocre in a way. War check is a little bit better, mid-range and high firepower, obviously a lot more doable than for desert. This one is going to be the harmonica cannon, A pierce and B plus power, but keep this in mind. Let's actually take a look at this at level 1 over here. 53 seconds of a first time usage. So if you're not running any initial boosting, initial charge EX skill, man, you're never gonna see this EX skill. If you're gonna take this into like a longer event, I don't know, let's say, I don't know, if you take this onto like a longer event, you're pretty much not gonna see it. I'm pretty sure, let's say you take it onto like this week's Perfect Strike multi-mission boss. I'm pretty sure a lot of people may be coming, like clearing the stage within like a minute or so. So you'll probably not even see this activate. Yeah, this is pretty sad. I don't know why they made it this long, but I don't. Other than that, if you guys do like the EX skills, I think this one is a pretty cool, aesthetically pleasing, because you are, I believe, shooting out 9 beam attack from issue, so it does look cool on paper, right? Or in battle. Overall, it's not bad. Like for the X divider alteration over here, I think they could have done a little bit better in terms of like the overall, like the offensive stat value. But I guess that kind of is like more of like a trade-off due to the fact you do have extremely high armor. So let's move on to the other one, Victory Gundam. Alright, in terms of the Victory Gundam, we do have 7 parts to go through, so I'm going to try to make my way just to make it a little bit faster for you guys over here. I think first thing first, this one having like a, E skill, this one over here, mounted head Vulcan, this is like a completely no-no. I think the word tag for the Victory Gundam is actually not the best. Obviously, you do have pro tag, but you're stuck with like a 4/4, so a lot of like major sub slot is needed just to try to get out of this E skill over here. And that is for forest over here, but the overall high armor as well. That is something to kind of mention. Melee is I would say it's pretty okay. Shot is pretty okay as well. So this is I would say a pretty well done head as well. Just that you do have an E skill, so they are a little bit more lenient in that regard. Or tag wise, so that's why they do kind of make the stat a little bit more welcoming, I guess. Alright, moving on to the chest over here. Let's see what we have. We do see some pretty good armor as well. In terms of the melee stats, it's actually a little bit higher if you will compare it to the X divider. Not bad. That is something I'll give, but the word tag for forest is that is something you're gonna have to get rid of for sure. But in terms of the portrait over here, it's actually good. You do have some piercing boosting over here. Like I said, piercing is a really slept on portrait. I would say it's not something a lot of people would appreciate. Like people like me, I don't really usually run you skill piercing boosting, but in some situation, I would say piercing is good. Let's say for like a specific event, when they say you have like your enemy has like extremely high defense, definitely these parts over here will get you out of those hard mode situation. Second portrait is going to be good. This is going to be like a general E skill power boost about 35%. So your melee and shooting E skill will be able to benefit from this, no problem. So not bad, but the other two restriction you're looking at over here is going to be you have to be using a rifle category, and then you have to be using a tech attribute. So I think that is something you just kind of keep in mind as you guys are looking at this part over here. Alright, moving on to the armor over here, you do have an arm plus the integrated shields, so obviously the value is going to be a lot more higher in this regard, coming in at 14,000, which is pretty high for a standard part right here. You're going to be having a vertical saber spin over here. This one having an A pierce is going to be greatly be appreciated with the torso E skill, just because those two will definitely go hand in hand together. E skill piercing alongside with like A pierce E skill right here. This is gonna be good. This one does have a B plus power. So if you are someone who wants to use the vertical beam or the saber spin over here, You must alterate this one because before alteration, you're only looking at a D power, so you're not gonna get any output at all. So that is something to just gotta keep in mind as well. So this one also lower your enemy gunpla beam resistance by 39%. So that is good. Definitely something good right there. In terms of the war tag wise for Forest, and yeah, you know the story. Trying to get this out of the way, I would say. But this one, you will not want to put this in your main slot. This will has to go in your sub slot. Reason being because like if you put this on your main parts, you're gonna lose out on a shoe slot. So you are in total gonna be losing out, let's say just two portrait slot. You can get some pretty good, stat boosting, or not stat boosting, passive percentage that kind of boost your overall parameters and all that. So that is something to just kind of keep in mind right there. This one, even if you do put this on a sub slot, you do get a little bit of a penalty because this one is arm plus shield. So I think what is actually transferred to your parameter is not going to be as high as you're looking at a single arm part. So that is something to keep in mind as well. Alright, moving on to the leg right here. Let's see what the leg has in store for us over here. It is going to continue to trend with like a little bit higher in terms like a little bit of a higher melee offensive stat over here. So that is something good to see. But word tag wise, oh man, for forest and mass reduction, woof. Yeah, this is a really hard one to kind of pull up right there without losing any stats. I would say, yeah, this is hard. Whew, man, but let's see what the portrait has for in store for us first. Okay. With rifle category equipped, close shot attack raised by 20%, and then with attacking with beam, melee crit rate up by 40%. I would say the second portrait is already bad in a way. As you guys know, crit is not really like the best thing to kind of run in this game. So with that being said, this one is I would just say nope, not gonna alterate it just because of that second portrait. It's not needed, in my opinion. All right, moving on to the backpack now. Let's see what the back has for in store. It's gonna be another one of those part with another 4K with everything raw attack plus that change here, so that's good. Armor, I would say is serviceable again. Almost at 5K, 60 more points right there, but not bad overall. But that tags, oh my gosh, for forest and mass reduction, oh my gosh, a hard one to kind of do right here. But this one is good. This one is gonna be good for any players who like to do debuffing. This one is gonna increase your debuff time by 22 seconds, so that is gonna prolong any effects you have on your enemy. So that's gonna be good. Second portrait cooldown up by 10 seconds. Ooh, this might be a hard one to swallow as well. Just because maybe you guys are. Yeah, this one's gonna be hard as well because let's say you're using it's just whatever your E skill cooldown is gonna be increased by 10%. So is that may not be the best case scenario in a mini scenario, but you do get a melee power boosted by 35% nonetheless. But that is something you're gonna have to trade off right there. Do you want to make your EX skill a little bit longer to like cooldown, or do you want to get that 35% melee power? So that is something you're gonna have to wager in before you're alternating this part over here. But that tag out, I would say is just, oh man, not good at all. Just not good at all. All right, moving on to the beam saber right here. Let's see what the beam saber has right here. Oh wow, 11K. That's good. That's good. I'm liking that already. But the tag before us, and man, mass production again. Why? What's up with this tags, man? But judging by the portrait over here, I would say this is not a port you want to alterate already. Strong melee crit up by 30%, that's not good already. And then a 26% chance of penetrating super armor, so that's not good already. Yeah, this one is, even though you do have some increased amazing stats for that this beam saber over here, I feel like the portrait does not really cut it at all. So nope, this one is a no for alteration. Alright, the last weapon set we have over here is going to be the beam rifle. You do have like a minuscule of melee attack as well. Shot at